Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really stunning theological contrast. We're going to unpack how a remarkably short, four-verse chapter of the Quran literally serves as the ultimate distillation of Islamic monotheism. You've probably heard it called Surah Al Ahad or Surah Al Ikhlas. It's just 4 lines. That's the whole shebang. Yet it somehow carries the weight of an entire theological framework. If you want to understand the absolute core of Islamic belief, this is exactly where you start. To really grasp the massive stakes of this text, just consider this astonishing fraction right here: 1/3. The Prophet Muhammad actually stated that reciting this tiny chapter is equivalent to reading a third of the entire Quran. I mean, imagine absorbing a third of a massive textbook in just 10 seconds of speaking. The Quran is a substantial text, right? So why do these 4 little verses hold a third of its weight? Well, it's because Quranic knowledge is fundamentally divided into 3 main aspects: creed, law, and prophetic stories. This chapter perfectly, completely summarizes the entire creed. It's the absolute foundational pillar of faith, condensed into just a few moments of recitation.
Okay, moving into section 1, the foundations, we're going to look at the context and the core names of the surah.
So the first core designation we need to talk about is Al Ahad, which translates to the unique. The surah actually gets its name from its powerful opening declaration of God's oneness. But listen, this isn't just about the number 1. The term Ahad establishes an indivisible unity that has absolutely zero equivalent. It means matchless. It means totally incomparable. It's a oneness that literally cannot be divided into parts or shared with any partners whatsoever. And that idea of Al-Ahad builds directly into this next concept, at-Tawheed, or absolute unity. This single concept is the ultimate theological formulation of monotheism in the Islamic tradition. It defines the very core essence of belief. Think of it like the sun in our solar system. Everything else in the faith, the laws, the practices, the entire worldview, all of it radiates outward from this absolute, uncompromising center of Tawheed. Finally, we have Al-Ikhlas, which translates to pure sincerity. Now, this is where the theology gets really fascinating, because it shifts the focus to us, the human element. While the other terms describe the nature of God, Al-Ikhlas describes the nature of the believer's response. It's all about the absolute necessity of completely purging your beliefs of any compromise, dedicating every single act of faith purely to the absolute creator. It's this deep, internal purification that perfectly matches the external reality of God's unity. So, what actually prompted this intense declaration in the first place? Well, historically, this revelation was a direct response to a specific, challenging inquiry. The polytheists of Quraysh came and demanded a physical ancestry or lineage for God. They literally asked, who did he come from? As we can see on the screen, this surah responded by completely abolishing any ancestral or physical concepts of the divine. It established a definitive boundary, anchoring Islam not in physical origins, but in absolute, eternal monotheism. Let's get into section 2, verse analysis, where we'll do a deep theological study of the text itself. The first 2 verses of this chapter just brilliantly set up the divine identity. Verse 1 proclaims, "Qul huwa Allahu ahad," say, He is Allah the One. Like we just talked about, this implies an indivisible unity with absolutely no parts. Then verse 2 builds right on top of that with Allahu Samad, Allah the Eternal Refuge. And this word, as-Samad, is just incredibly rich. It denotes a self-sufficient, supreme sovereign. It paints this ultimate paradox of independence. A creator who needs absolutely nothing from creation, yet whom all of creation depends upon entirely for their very existence and sustenance. As we transition over to verses 3 and 4, take a look at this imagery. We are dealing with a scale here that is completely independent of time, biology, and human constraints. Imagine the sheer vastness of the cosmos. It really helps visualize the profound boundary the text is drawing between the limited, fragile nature of our physical universe and the totally limitless nature of the Creator. The specific words used here establish that exact cosmic scale. Verses 3 and 4 state, Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. That means, He neither begets nor is He begotten, and there is none comparable to Him. These concluding verses definitively refute any concept of physical offspring or parental origins. It perfectly answers that historical demand from the Quraysh by utterly rejecting the very premise of their question. It seals the definition of Tawheed by declaring that absolutely nothing in creation resembles or equates to His divine essence.
Moving right along to Section 3, Everyday Integration. Let's look at how this creed shows up in daily life. So you might be wondering, how do you actually live alongside such massive cosmic concepts? Well, this high theology isn't just theory. It's grounded in a daily rhythm. For comprehensive morning and evening protection, believers recite this surah 3 times daily alongside the chapters Al-Falaq and An-Nas. It embeds this spiritual shield at the start and end of the day. It also anchors standard prayers. The Prophet regularly chose this exact chapter for the sunnah prayers of Fajr in the morning and Maghrib at sunset. And beyond just the ritual of it, constant recitation acts as a mechanism to intentionally cleanse the heart from spiritual diseases. It continuously fosters that undivided sincerity we talked about, al-ikhlas, in literally all your daily endeavors.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. In our highly complex, incredibly distracted modern lives, what does it genuinely take to reflect the absolute, uncompromising purity demanded by Surah Al Ahad? Really think about that. What does it mean to truly purge your beliefs of all compromise to achieve that state of pure sincerity? It is a standard of absolute clarity in a world that is just full of noise. Take that question with you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and keep exploring the incredible depth behind the things we think we already know.